Welcome to another episode of the SAPU podcast. We are here to speak about the SAPU legal benefits, as it is one of the benefits that SAPU members happen to enjoy. Come and join me today as I'm in conversation with May Dineo Mutaung, who is an in-house attorney at SAPU Legal. Dineo, welcome.
Morning, Lisaba.
All right, it's good to have you here. Coming from the perspective of SAPU Legal, maybe do take us through, specifically, let's start with family law matters that SAPU Legal is covering. Can you take us through?
All right, family law covers a wide variety of matters, right? So that would be your divorces, your maintenance. With regards to divorces, if I'm to break it down, we cover contested and uncontested divorces, right? Contested divorces would be in a stance where partners do not agree on dividing the estates, rather. So that would be then, taken to court and be heard. So that's contested divorces. We cover that at 10,000 as well. And contested divorces would be when there's no disputes. So your partners would be now agreeing that this is what we're sharing, and then we have a settlement agreement. We take it to court to be made a court order. And whereas contested divorces would be when there's disputes, they don't agree, so then we'd have to go to court and have a hearing and then finally get to a court order, right? Mm-hmm. Those are both covered at 10,000 individually. We also have customary marriages where the marriages now have to be registered. Mm-hmm. So essentially, we all of them are also covered at 10,000. However, making the process easier, we usually request members to go to Home Affairs and have it registered, right? And then we come back and do the divorce the way divorces are done, whether it's contested and uncontested. The reason why we ask them to go to Home Affairs is because now the amount is kept at 10,000 Rand. If it's kept in 10,000, having to register a marriage, courts are different. So if in Gauteng, we say registrations are done in the High Court. High Court tariffs are higher. So if we want to instruct a lawyer for Gauteng, right, they might deplete the amount of 10,000 before they can actually do the initial divorce. So making the process easier and to be able to save the amount, the kept amount for the member, we ask them to just do that one thing of registering the marriage, and then we go on board with other attorneys and have them do the initial divorce. So that's customary marriage, right? Mm-hmm. Customary marriage would be where there's a lobola letter and, not the civil, not the marriage certificates at hand. So when you register it, we're asking for you guys to go and get the marriage certificates at the Home Affairs.
Okay. The importance of that marriage certificate around the divorce part, maybe just unpack that part. I find it very interesting in this regard.
So here's the thing, with the marriage certificate then, that's what's going to give us direction, right, as to the people that are married under Home Affairs. They are registered and they are, recognized by our law, right? And then also in that, it makes it easier for us to know whether the people are married in community or out of community. So in most instances, if they go to the Home Affairs and register their marriage, they're married in community or property. Whereas if then, before they actually even lobola, they go to a notary and have an ANC, which is called the antenatal contract, that comes in to play. In the marriage certificate, it will be written out of civil marriage, but we'll know that it comes with a document of an ANC. So when we then do the divorce, that's when we know the difference, that these ones are dealt differently to the normal in community or property marriages.
Okay. Then maintenance issues, there's disputes that arises around maintenance. How do you assist our members in that regard?
With regards to maintenance, also there's a very wide spec of maintenance issues. So, for instance, there would be custody. There would be areas where the one parent is not doing the share of paying maintenance. There would be parental rights, contact. So in that aspect, then we cover members for 10,000 Rand. So if they are not within the province, if an in-house attorney can't take, that's when we outsource and instruct other attorneys to go and represent their members, our members rather, for the 10,000 cover. So if the 10,000 cover does lapse, unfortunately, they will have to now top up. But in most instances, maintenance is covered at 10, and in most cases, it does get finalized before the 10,000 cover lapses.
And then the adoptions, I think it's part of what you are covering. And there's different circumstances that members comes across. And then maybe on that.
So in an instance of adoption, right, so we'd hire and then, we'd outsource an attorney if it's not here in Gauteng, an attorney to then help you go through so there's documentation that you have to go through for an adoption to be legalized. So with all that, it becomes a bit complex as a lay person rather, to fill in that, to know what documents to bring. So now the attorney will take you throughout the process to do that, and if there's any court appearances that you need to make, whether applying to be a legal guardian, to adopt the person. Let's say in an instance where the child loses both parents, and now as a grandmother, I want to acquire full guardianship so that I'm like viewed as the parent of the child. There's court proceedings. That means now it has to go to the High Court to make an application, because now the status of the child changes. They're no longer under these parents, but under me as a grandmother. So the status changes, and we make an application to the High Court. So that they needs an attorney, because lay persons do not have right of appearances. So they don't know the processes or the procedure or the documents that need to be annexed into the application. So that's when we outsource attorneys to be able to assist you with the adoption process.
Okay, you touched on the antenuptial contract when you spoke of divorce.
Yeah.
Maybe let's talk about drawing the actual antenuptial
ANC.
contract in terms of how do you then assist our members in relation to that?
So actually with that, we've had a lot of members call in. Before they get married, they want to know the different marriage regimes. So a lot of people know in community property and out of community property. So if I'm to touch a bit on that, there's two out of community properties. So there would be out of community property with accrual and out of community property just like that.
Don't lose us. What is the one with accrual?
Yes, I am coming there. I am coming there. So out of community with accrual would be what we made. If I am to get married to you, right? They say I have a car and a house currently, and you have that, right? Once you get married, we sign that we're married. If we are to get into the marriage and we say we want to marry out of community with accrual system, that means what's yours, what you came into the marriage with is yours. What I came in the marriage with is mine. So on the document, it will be written that Dineo came in with a car, with the house, and with investments. And then it will be written Lesiba came in with the car and no house, for instance, right? And then what we then make in the marriage. So once we're married, let's say we get married today, what we make from tomorrow, if our estates now increases, that's what we'll share should we happen that we divorce. So we will share. My house we would not share, my car will not share, and your car. But if we to buy another house and another car once we're married, that's what we share.
So in a nutshell, you mean from the date of marriage, whatever
from the
that
date
is
of marriage, that's
accumulated.
accrual, correct. If our estate increases, then there's just out of community, meaning now what's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. Whether we're married and we make millions, we don't share our millions. My millions are mine, yours are yours.
Okay.
So that's the two.
So then how do you assist members in drafting that, in terms of the benefits as well?
So then we get an attorney, right? So it's just a normal consultation where both of the partners come. We sit down, right? And then we talk as to what do you guys have, what do you guys want to include and exclude. So in instance where they want to marry out of community, we do say, okay, this is what you guys have. We jot it down point by point, everything, your estates, right? And then, so we call them in, have a consultation. So it's mainly a document that's going to be notarized and signed. So that document is the ANC. So basically, us helping them is just stating everything that this is what we include, this is what we don't include. That's it.
As in the antenuptial contract?
The antenuptial contract,
Okay.
yes.
What advice can be given to our SAPU members in relation to issues of marriage generally, and specifically in terms of what I've highlighted?
Okay, so here's the thing. There's a misconception that marriage is marriage once you've signed, and that's not true. Hence I say misconception. Once you come to my house and leave a 2 rand, we are married, right?
Sure.
And that's what people must understand.
With 2 rand?
2 rand. Once there's a form, a lobola letter that your family and my family sit down and agree that Lisiba said he's going to lobola Dineo with 5,000. For now we have 2 rand. We're leaving it here. That binds us. That's a contract. That's marriage. We don't need you to take out the full 5,000, or for me and you to go to Home Affairs and put on rings to say we're married.
Even if one is still owing,
Even if
just that
we're married. Right, we're married. So my advice basically would be, as partners, let's have uncomfortable conversations. I always tell my clients to say, let's sit, before we get married, let's sit down, because it binds us together. That means I incur your debts, you take my debts. And I don't think anyone wants to take on a liability, right? So sit down, have uncomfortable conversations. Yes, once you get married, you can do postnuptial. So postnuptial works exactly like an antenuptial contract. It's just that now you do it after marriage. It becomes a bit complicated because now we're married. And I'm going to ask you, why do you want to exclude me in the house? Because we're married. Whereas if we have these conversations before we actually are married, we can easily say, no, Dino, keep your car, I keep my car, what we make, we divide. Because now, the problem is that once we make a postnuptial, the first thing that's going to come to my head is that, are you marrying me just for me to be your wife and eventually divorce me? You're not looking this for the long term, you see, or what? So we're trying to avoid that by actually sitting down, talking, and having ANCs in place. But yeah, there's a postnuptial if you guys probably, members have married already and they see, well, okay, there's things we need to divide.
Protection orders, domestic violence, I mean, we see quite a lot of those types of scenes, unfortunate scenes, one must say. Then how do SAPU Legal assist our members accordingly in relation to those?
So that falls part of civil in general, civil matters. Protection orders are covered at 15,000 rand. So we do also have a discretion of increasing the amount. That's because in most cases we have seen that protection orders, there's not really disputes. We go to courts. If I should make an example, I for one went to court for a protection order. When I got there was actually no dispute because the dispute was falling from a divorce. So one partner was not doing their part, and then they came and they said it's a protection order. But when we actually saw it and went into the merits of the case with the magistrate, there was actually no case and it was dismissed. Hence, then we're covering at 50K because in most instances, the protection orders become final before the 15K actually lapses. And protection orders then are vast. There will be an instance where somebody is coming to your property, or maybe somebody is divorced to you and they can't come to a certain perimeter next to you.
There's limits.
There's limits, correct. And then, yeah, protection orders are basically that.
Okay, then domestic violence related and harassment, is it falling under the same?
They fall under criminal law.
On legal opinion, I mean, sometimes one is not sure of how do they deal with a situation they want to get to say what are the legal implications thereof.
Sure.
Through a legal opinion, and then how do members get assisted on that as well?
So as I've alluded earlier on, that you do have members calling in into SAPU Legal on a daily basis rather, and then they just want to know maybe they want to know about an estate. So that's us giving legal advice, right? An estate as to how it can be divided, or maybe they've got sibling disputes, or they want to know about marriage. So that's us giving legal advice. And when it comes to a legal opinion, it's documented. So in an instance, you want to know about if you're wrongfully arrested. So that means I, as an in-house attorney, will then go in, do my research, listen to the points you give me as to how you were arrested and why you say you're wrongfully arrested, and then I will then come down, write down all the facts, give you a case, and show you whether you were really wrongfully arrested or not. So in most instances if the matter is not complex, we limit the legal advice or the opinions to in-house. If the matter is complex, we'll then outsource, maybe get an advocate or an expert in that particular faculty to be able to then write a legal opinion for you. But most instances, we have in-house attorneys that do the legal opinion.
Okay. Maybe let's also now touch on civil law matters, maybe unpack it for the viewers in terms of the types of matters that SAPU Legal cover, which are related to civil law. Okay.
So legal opinion was one of them, right? So we got on to your rough matters, road accident funds. So road accident funds would be getting in an accident, motor vehicle accident to be specific, and then there's injuries sustained, and that's when then we get an attorney for you, depending on which province you are. we get you an attorney who's going to assist you with that claim for the RAF, and then you sign a contingency of 25% that after your monies have, been released and the case has been won, and then there's a certain amount that comes to SAPU and that particular attorney that was assisting you with the RAF claim. Okay. And then we have breach of contracts, being a lease, whether you're the tenant or you're the, the landlord.
There's quite a lot of those.
Yes, eviction matters, where, for instance, in most cases, we've seen that members, state property. You see, members are staying at a state property and the contracts are not renewed, that's when we come in and assist. There's contracts, obviously, they must sign. So we come review the contracts, whether they defaulted or what, because they also have a subsidy that they pay. Right, so maybe they've defaulted or there's a reason why they have to be evicted. So we come in and actually assist or appoint an attorney who's going to assist them with that. And then garnishing orders, for instance, let's say you need to pay maintenance, and then we come in, get an attorney who will then speak to your employer to have it in your payslip being garnished. We have removal of your name from the credit bureau. As you've seen, the economy is bad, so there's a lot of finance issues, so we assist for removing your name from there. That's also us. We do it in-house, unless it's in other provinces. And then obviously they would have to have access to the offices, let's say in KZN. So it makes it easier for an attorney that's that side. And then we also have drafting of a will.
Maybe also just assist to take us through. Maybe a member is faced with a divorce, and at the very same time got involved in an accident, and they need SAPU Legal to assist them with the RAF claim in this regard. Will SAPU assist the member?
Sure.
In terms of all of those cases?
Okay, definitely. So in an instant that unfortunate things happen, you are able to bring, matters together. Okay. They can happen simultaneously, yes. So I can have a divorce matter because it's kept at 10,000, and for instance, maybe a maintenance matter, it's also kept at 10,000. So the member has 100,000 essentially that their matters are covered in. So what we do then, we do case management in the legal department, where we are able to see your funds, your claims, as to the lawyers have claimed this much, this is how much you have. So we have a system that monitors basically your finances and your claims. So we all know that you still have funds available in your cover, so you can bring simultaneous matters to the table, yes.
Okay. And all of that is inclusive within the 100 Rand membership of SAPU?
Correct. So once you join SAPU, then you get the benefits of having SAPU Legal.
And everything else that you have counted there?
Everything else that I've counted and more.
Okay. That indeed, being a SAPU member is quite fashionable. Maybe let's proceed further on the drafting of the will. There's a lot of interest in it, especially on workers per se. How do you then come by to assist members in regards to that?
Okay, so drafting of a will is kept as 1,500 Rand, right? So basically drafting of a will is if I have assets and I have kids, right? At the end of the day, we all know that we are bound to die. So why should I die? I don't want disputes in my family. I don't want my kids to be fighting over my cars, my houses, and the insurance money and everything, my assets basically. So a will basically assists you to have your estate divided properly with peace and smooth, right? So in your will, there will be an attorney obviously present to have a consultation with you. You will tell your attorney what you have and then how you want it to be divided, whether it's 50%, whether you want your spouse to have everything, whether you want your child to have everything. That will be basically in the will. And then the will becomes the last word or last say of the deceased. So what the will says is what the law takes. So if there's a will, you take it to court, they will do what the will says. So you can't dispute the will. So there's also cases where there's a will dispute.
Yeah.
Where families come and say, no, these people forged a signature, this will is not the one, you know. So that's when we also hire experts. That means handwriting experts who will come, maybe an attorney, we appoint an attorney, and the attorney says, okay, this is the will. Then under an attorney, we get a handwriting expert. They will then do their job to assess whether the will is valid or right. And then that's where the matters also go to high court, because a will, contesting a will is a high court matter.
Yes.
You see, that's where attorneys come in as well.
The removal of one's name on credit bureau, how does that go?
So in that instance, as a person, I know that I have probably a car, my car is financed, my house is financed, I've got accounts, clothing accounts, I have credit cards and whatnot. So how that works then, in order for us to remove you from the credit bureau, they need to know that you've actually paid up that particular debt. So we'd need you to then give us the names of all your expenses, all your liabilities. That means all the debts, the names and shops or branches, your APSA, whatever it is, right?
Yes.
From there, we approach them. We get the finalized letters that you've actually indeed paid off your debt. Then we get in touch with the credit bureau and then make contact, have your name rather removed from the credit bureau.
Here is another interesting benefit that SAPU members enjoy, the one of conveyancing. I mean, one is a worker, then they want to buy a house for themselves and for their families, for their kids to live comfortable. How do you then come and assist them?
Okay. So with regards to conveyancing fees, we all understand that purchasing property is very expensive. So there's what they call transfer costs.
Yes.
Transfer costs are dependent on the house, the area of the house, how big the house is. Then from there, there's a variation. Then transfer costs are given, whether it's 20,000, whether it's 10,000. You see. So with that, the SAPU legal says we congratulate you on purchasing a house, right? And with that, we'd like to then say, here's 6,000 to assist you with all the money that you've actually paid, right? So in that, however, there's a catch. You need to now claim within 3 months. So if you buy a house, it gets registered. Within 3 months, you need to now send in the documents, right? And the documents would be your ID, pro forma account that you get from attorneys that did the transfer, proof of payment that you've actually paid that transfer fees. It will be your copy of the deed of transfer. That means there will be the name of the purchaser and the person who's selling the house, as well as your proof of account, because we need to know where we need to send the money. So if you have those documents within 3 months and you verify it, we give you 6,000.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, a member should pay, and then claim back from SAPU Legal.
So what we've also seen is that other members don't necessarily have the, let's say it's 20,000, in hard cash. Not hard cash, but they don't have it lying around to pay it. So they add it into the installment of the house itself, the bond itself. So as long as you're giving us documentation that can show that transfer costs are added into the house itself, then we can be able to verify and actually give you 6,000.
Okay, I think that's quite of the greatest benefits that SAPU members get to be assisted with. One, like you said earlier, if the unfortunate happens that one happened to lose their life, a member, how do you then come in and assist when it comes to the administration of the deceased estate?
Okay. So with regards to assisting with the administration, it depends on the estate value. So there's, when you go to the master's office, where the estates are done, there's a letter of executorship, a letter of authority. So that's dependent on the value. So then we come in as attorneys to assist you to get that letter. When you have that letter, that's when you're able to now be the executor and divide the estate.
Yes.
So basically, when we get an attorney, we get the attorney to assist you with that, doing the runarounds for you, instead of you doing it yourself. And in an instance where there's a dispute, let's say, for instance, my dad has a child and you didn't know. The child comes in once he's died, or maybe my stepmother doesn't include me in the papers, and I don't then qualify to get the money. That's when we now come in and say, this is the child, it's a biological child of the deceased, right? And then we take the matter in for variation and say, hey, this child deserves to be in the beneficiary list. They were not included, and wrongfully so. Can we now go back and recalculate everything, or can we now, if the money has been taken out already, there is a portion on how the master will work it through to be able to give you what belongs to you. Yeah. So that's when attorneys come in to do all the processes and procedures of the dispute.
Okay. I mean, after unpacking all of these great benefits that members are able to enjoy when they join SAPU, how can they get hold of SAPU in this regard when they need help?
So we do have, for weekdays, we do have a landline. And then also for weekdays and after hours, we do have a WhatsApp line. That WhatsApp line is available 24/7. We do have a call center agent available to assist members, any time of the day when they need assistance. Also, if you need to send an email or documents through, office email admin@sapudefense.co.za, defense with the C, where you can send in your query or your question or your documents or whatever you need assistance with. We are able to assist you, and all that I've mentioned is covered with your 100 Rand that you pay per month. And we do have members that can actually come and say, you know what, SAPU has assisted me. We are guaranteeing 100% cover back, basically. 100% accessibility, 100% assistance to the members, and assuring that you will walk away happy. So with everything that I've mentioned, alluded to earlier on, is covered by the 100 Rand membership of SAPU. So you get SAPU Legal as a benefit. So all these and more are just covered by the 100 Rand that members pay every month, and guaranteed assistance, availability, and happiness from our side.